workshop. Today, we're going to be getting you signed up for the developer portal, getting you access to Kintone, introducing Kintone, and building some live apps together. We're going to build a system, a CRM system, a way to track contacts with people that you're communicating with, and also a way to track tasks. And we're going to show how our customers of Kintone use the platform to achieve these things. So we are a no-code platform, but which we're going to be showing mostly today is no-code features. We may get a little bit into some exciting things that we can do with a little programming background towards the end of things. So I'm going to start my share here, and we're just going to run through some basics at the beginning, and then we'll start getting into things. So today we're going to be talking about sales lead management, how we can use Kintone to manage these prospects and clients and build a database for yourself. A few links and notable things here, and Genji will be popping some links into chat for you. We're all going to need to get a free Kintone subdomain by signing up through the Kintone developer portal. That'll be new. And at the end of today, we're going to be giving out a $25 gift card and doing a little raffle, and also giving out some Kintone swag as well. So hang around for that for sure. So getting your Kintone subdomain, this link is in chat for you. Kintone.dev/new. Essentially, it's going to have you fill out this form, some basic information, and then we'll get access to working on Kintone and the Kintone subdomain itself. And I'll hang out here for a second so people can catch up and get on the page. Let's check this. So some notable things that are important. The email address that you put in will be your login name for Kintone, and it is case sensitive. So make sure you remember what you use there. And then at the bottom here, this subdomain, this is kind of like a title for your website. So your subdomain will be whatever you choose, whether it's my domain or coffee lovers or kintoneworkshop.kintone.com. That will be your custom portal that is made for you, and you are able to log into and get access to. So building a sales lead management app on Kintone is what we're going to be doing today with Erica and myself, introducing the team a little bit more. I'm Elias Bazanis. I'm a sales engineer here at Kintone. I have been for a little over 2.5 years. I have a background in computer science and IT, and I'm based out of Chicago. Erica and Genji, do you guys want to do some intros for yourself as well?
Yeah, sure. My name is Erica. I've been at Kintone for 2 years now, and I am a sales engineer. So yeah, nice to meet you all. I'll pass it to Genji.
Hey, I'm here based out of Tokyo, and I've been with the company for 4.5 years. A little scary, but I'm a Kintone developer advocate here to answer any questions you might have. So feel free to post in the chat anytime.
Great, thanks. Yeah, thanks, Genji. Thanks for being up with us. I know it's late in Tokyo right now. So hopefully you guys have had a chance to fill out the form and get your subdomain going. Once you fill out that form, you will get an email. So a good way to find this email is to just search "Welcome to Kintone." Let me go back here because it will have that header in there. If you don't see it, I would check your junk mail, and you'll want to click Activate Now. Once you click that, you'll be able to set a password for your account, and logging in will be pretty simple from there. This is what you'll see once you get into your Kintone portal. You're just going to want to click on Kintone to get in. We're gonna go through all this stuff pretty shortly with Erica. And this is just some basic things about getting going. But just a reminder, if you need help, you can post on the Kintone forum. You can post in chat. I'll be answering questions. So will Genji. And if you're interested in joining future workshops, please sign up and sign up through our KDP events link. And stick around for a little swag giveaway and the raffle at the end here. Gonna run through one more quick PowerPoint really fast, just to kind of give you guys an intro to Kintone, and then we're gonna get into the exciting stuff and building. So you might be asking, what is Kintone? Kintone is a customizable workplace platform that organizes your team's data, workflows, and conversations into one centralized place for more streamlined work. It's kind of confusing and long. So the simple explanation of what I use for Kintone is, and what I explained to my uncle over the Thanksgiving dinner table, is it's a software where you can easily build more software and build out processes and databases easily without a programming background. So what are the kinds of problems we solve? File sharing, team communication. We're a groupware platform, so if you guys are in the professional environment, this may be a bit scary to you, and or this slide may be a bit scary to you, and you may be able to relate to it. Files constantly being passed around, saved places. It's kind of hard to know where everything's at. Also, other common problems are spreadsheets that are holding a little bit too much, or not working functionally. So and then also working through processes. So if you have quoting, contract signing, this is a common workflow that might happen for any business, but to go through all these steps, a lot of communication needs to happen, a lot of data gets passed around. We specialize in being able to build a system that can capture this and capture your process and make it very transparent for everybody involved, and streamline everything for you. So what we specialize in at Kintone, these are our 3 pillars, are the database application, process management, and communication. So we bring these 3 aspects together in the platform. We're going to demo that today for you to make the workplace better and more efficient. Here are just some summarizing points. There's the builder on the bottom right, which we're going to get into as well. And here are some common work cases or use cases that we take care of. These are all departments that we're involved in, and a whole bunch of different implementations that our system could possibly be used for by a variety of different companies. So that's kind of it for the intro. I'm gonna take a step back and be answering questions, helping you guys if you run into any issues. And Erica is going to share, please, if you could, Erica, and we're going to start kind of a live demo and build that. If you guys have signed up so far, you can join in, you can build with us, and we can get a system. We're going to show you how it's easy to get a system up and running really quickly.
Yeah, so you guys can see my screen, right?
Yep, we got it.
Awesome. So yeah, here is the landing page for Kintone. As soon as you and other users of your subdomain log in, they'll see this page. We don't have any apps in here, so we're just going to start from scratch just to show how easy it is to create apps and link them together with different features. So I'm going to go ahead and just create an app from scratch by clicking the plus button. And we're going to create a customers app and also an activity log app. So let's just start by creating an app from scratch. And I'm just going to go ahead and name this. I'm going to zoom this out a little so it's a little easier to see. And I'm just going to call it customers. So here you can see the app editing screen. We can change the name of the app, add fields, and configure other app settings. So I'm just going to drag in some text fields and just start adding fields to hold customer data, for example, customer name. And so I'm just going to use some simple text fields to capture that information. So we have the, let's say, street address. We have, let's say, city name. These are the basic fields that I always use in a customer app or a contacts app, for example. So it's very simple for us to go ahead and drag and drop different fields. I'm going to also add what we call a link field to add a email. So if we go to our link field settings, we have different options for different kinds of links. So I'm going to change this field to an email address and just change the field name. So we can track the customer's email. We can go ahead and add another link field for the phone number. And I believe that's it for link fields. We can add other fields such as drop downs. So it's easy to just add different options, for example, like in industry. So we can say, I don't know, we have manufacturing. Just as an example, we can continue pressing the plus button to add more options for that drop down. And I'll just add a couple more if anyone has any suggestions for fields that I should use. Say industry, maybe like region. And let's say, I don't know. I think that should be good for now. Yeah. I'll just, I can go to the app settings as well and just add, for example, an appearance. So in the app settings, we have lots of different options for adding permission settings, for example, to selectively hide or disable fields from certain users. So you can get very granular with the kind of information you want public within your organization, or you can, for example, lock the entire app or lock certain fields. Yeah, we have different settings for notifications as well to notify certain users based on a process that occurred or a date approaching, for example. So we can get more into those settings later on. But for now, I'm just going to go to the appearance and just add a simple icon. So customers, I'll just use a simple ID icon. We can add a description. This holds customer data. So just some blurb that's useful for other users to remember what the purpose of the app is. So now that this customer's app is created, we have this list view here. We have no records in here so far, so I'm just going to click the plus button. You can see that now we can enter information into the form we just created. We'll just say the customer name is Kintone, for example. Can add the address information. Say that's the manufacturing industry in the northern region. We'll click save. So we only have one record in here, but let's see if we should create some more information. I'll just add a couple more records in here.
Yeah,
I
so I
can
just dropped a test data set into chat for
Okay.
us.
Great, thank you so much. So I'm gonna go to the Zoom chat and I'm gonna download this mock data that Elias just created. And I'm gonna show you how to go ahead and import that CSV file into this customer's app in bulk. So there might be frequent moments where you have historical data sets on hand that you want to import into Kintone and start working with. So all we have to do is go to the right, far right, and we'll say import from file. I'm going to go ahead, look for that file that Elias just handed over, and feel free to follow along by also downloading that file. So I believe that was mock data 2 that you sent over. Yeah, let me just download that again. Where's that? Mock data, yeah, so they're in my downloads. Just took a second. So I just selected that data set. I'm going to change the character encoding to Unicode. And yeah, because special character encoding might be jumbled if it's not in Unicode. So you can see this is the preview of the CSV file. We have the different columns from the CSV showing up. And if we scroll down, we can map those columns from the CSV to the Kintone fields. They have mapped automatically based on the column header in the CSV matching the field in Kintone. So we can, if they don't, if they're not exactly spelled the same, we can just go to the drop down and select it to map those fields. So it looks like these are all properly mapped. We can just click the import button to get all that information. So the file is imported successfully. We can see here that we now have 101 records and this list view of that data. So now we can get into filtering and filtering through this data to make useful sub-lists, sub-filtered lists of data. So I'm just going to click the filter button and we can add different parameters for filtering. So for example, if we want to see certain customers that are in the manufacturing sector that are also in the northern region, for example, we can just go ahead and click apply and get a shorter list view of that data. We can click the filter button and we can actually save this filter and just call it manufacturers northern region. And you can add as many more filters as you want based on any other fields that are present in the app. So yeah, I went ahead and I saved that data. So I believe that covers views, unless Elias, there's anything else I should mention about that. I can move on to building the activity log app.
Maybe like controlling what columns we're showing in the view as well.
Yeah, that's a great point. So I'm going to navigate to the app settings where we can see we have views for headers, form, and views. I'm just going to go to views. This is where we can edit the columns that are displaying for this view that I just created. I'll click edit. And we can see all of these columns that will display. Let's just say that it's a little too crowded. We don't need to see the zip. We don't need to see their phone number or their state. So we can just remove those fields. And let's say we don't need to see their record ID number. We can just go ahead and save that. And we can also change the order of views as well. So if I had another view, I could come here and drag the views in the order that I want. I can just click Update App. And the view at the top of the list will be the default. When you go to the list view of the customers, you see that this view comes up first, and you can see that now we only have those 6 columns that I selected in the view section. Great. So now that we covered that, I'm just going to go ahead and create another app. I'm going to go to the home. Just going to click the plus button again and create an app from scratch. We'll call it the activity log. And the purpose of this app is to just track communication with each customer. So we'll have a record for every time we interact with that customer. So the only fields that we really need are the, let's say the name of the customer. So I'll just drag in a text field for the customer name. We'll drag, what's that?
I believe we want to look that up, right?
Oh yeah, we'll use a lookup field for this. So I'll just delete this name. And so we're gonna try out a new field called the lookup field. And I'm gonna drag in a number fields for the customer ID. So I'll just rename this number field customer ID. And we'll go to configure the lookup settings. So I'm just going to rename this to customer lookup. And what this is going to do is we're going to type in a customer's name, and it will just automatically pull in that information from the customer's app. So that's why we're going to set the customer's app as the data source app, and the key field is going to be the customer's name. Then we can select the information we want to pull in from that customer's record. So I'm going to pull in the Kintone auto-generated record number. I'm going to pull that into the number field that I just created called the customer ID. And the reason I'm doing that is to create that one-to-one connection between the customer and the activity log, so that we can match related activity logs to that customer. I'm gonna go ahead and drag in one more field to make it so you can see how we can pull in that data. And I press the plus button to add another field mapping. And I'm going to pull in the street address, or I'll just pull in the city. I'll click save. I'll change the name of this text field to city. And yeah, I'll also pull in a text area field for the notes about the activity. And let's also drag in a date field to indicate when the conversation took place. Date contacted. And I believe that's all we need. So I'll just add an icon just to make it look a little better. And doesn't really matter. We'll just use the calendar. And I'll activate that app. So here we have no records, but if I click the plus button to create a new activity for, let's say that I contacted, Franny. So the lookup field pulls in the Franny's ID number from the customer's app. It also brings in the city that she's from. You can type in notes from our conversation with Franny to say she was interested in a meeting. That's just an example. We'll just click save, and now that record is created you can see that we have this blue hyperlink to Franny's customer record. So if I just click her name, it'll redirect me to her record in the customers app. So from here, I believe we can go into creating the related records fields. So I'm going to, I'm in the customers app right now. I'm just going to go to the app settings, and we're going to drag in Kintone, we call them related records fields to show related activity. So I'm going to go to settings, and we can just call this related activity logs. We're going to make the activity log the data source app, and the criteria is going to be the record number because that's what we're using as the customer ID. So it's saying whatever ID matches this customer in the activities log, show me those records. It's basically what it's saying. We can choose the columns that we want to display. So we can say the date contacted, and let's say the notes. That's basically all we need. Maybe we can say who created it. So I can say created by to show me who it was that contacted this customer, for example. So we'll click save and update the app. And then we'll go to Franny's profile to take a look at how the related activity log looks. So you can see this table is showing that record that I just created in the activity log app. And so yeah, any customer profile we go on, we can see if we've contacted them, a history of all the contact we've had. And yeah, related records can be used in all sorts of ways. This is just a simple common way that it's used, but it can be used with any two entities that have an ID that they're sharing. So in this case, it's the customer ID that is being passed back and forth. So from here, guess what we can do is we can move to the action buttons. I could show how we can create an action button on the customers app to create activity logs. Does that sound good? Great. Yeah, feel free to put any questions in the chat or any feedback. Go ahead and. So I'll just go to the app settings for the customers app, and we're going to create what's called an action button. So it's just going to be a button at the top of the customer's record that we can click to create a new activity log. So I'm going to click create an action, and I'm going to name that button. Let's say create new activity log. Kind of long, but we're going to target that activity log app, and I'm going to choose the fields I want to push over into that activity log app. So from here, I want to push over the record number. So the record numbers are automatically generated by Kintone for every record. They're 100% unique. Even if you delete a record, it will never be used again. So it's very good to use for linking records because you won't have duplicates and they're always going to be present. So I'm going to push that record number into the activity logs, customer ID fields. And actually what we want to do is push into that lookup field. Didn't we?
Because it's mapped from the lookup, we can't push into it.
Yeah, we can't.
Customer name.
Yeah, so I guess we should unlink it from the lookup field, I guess.
No, I think you can just clear all here, and then in the source field, we can do the customer name to the customer name.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, so we're just pushing the customer name into that lookup field that we created earlier. Let's click save and we'll update the app. And then we can test out that new action button we just created.
I added a few more views for us as well.
Oh, nice. I'll click the list of views here. So you can see the ones that Elias created. We have pharmaceutical, so it's just a view of all of our customers that are pharmaceutical industry. I have education as well. So every customer in the education industry, no matter the region. And then, yeah, we have manufacturers and manufacturers in the southern region as well. Thanks, Elias.
Yeah, no worries.
So I will go back to Franny's profile from the default view. And you can see this new button that we created. The action button, we can just click from Franny's profile to create a new activity log. It will push over her name and we can pull in the customer ID in the city and add another. I'll click save and we can see that record we just created back on her profile. So it's basically a way to create records from the customer's app in a different app and maintain that connection. So I believe that's it for lookup fields, related records fields. Let's see. We can also go into reminders and permissions as well. So I'm going to go back into the activity log app. And I'm going to go to the app settings here and go to the app settings and I'll go to the notifications. So let's say that we want to remind a certain user of a date coming up, say, you want to notify, let's say, the person who created the record. We want to remind them 5 days after contacting and say, follow up with the customer. And we can add a recipient. So we can say, okay, the person who created the record, let's remind them 5 days after the date contacted with this reminder. You can just click save, update the app. And now that this record has been created 5 days after May 18th, I would get a notification up here in the notifications section. And I would also receive an email as well. I'll just click the reminders icon and you can see different notifications that you've received for, let's say, another user commented your name on a record or files being imported there, and other kinds of notifications would appear here. So that's about it for the reminders. And in terms of permissions, we can decide which users have permission to add, edit, or delete records or make changes to the app. So we can say that not every user can delete records, but the app creator is allowed to delete records. This is a common configuration so that we don't lose records by other users accidentally deleting them. I'll just save, update the app. And yeah, there are other permission settings as well per record. So you could choose the different conditions that that users can or cannot view, edit, or delete based on a condition in the record. So say the city is in Houston, you can say that people cannot delete records with the city from Houston, just as an example. And that is for records. We also have it at the field level as well. So if you want to prohibit the viewing or editing of certain fields, you can select that field and decide which users can or cannot view or edit that field. So I think that basically covers notifications and permissions, unless I'm leaving anything out. And we also went over views as well. I believe that we can go over process management as well. So I'm going to go back to the customers app, go over process management. Process management is Kintone's tool for managing a workflow. So for example, the workflow of having a invoice created to reviewed to approved to sent, or maybe there's another status that it is rejected and you want to push it back to review. And these different statuses can automatically assign users and notify users as well. So it's pretty useful when you have multiple steps related to a record. So in this case, we have customers. Let's add a dropdown just for example to go, actually we don't need a dropdown. Let's just go to the app settings and go to process management. I'm going to select enable process management, and you can see the default statuses are created. We have these not started, which is the default status of the newly created record. It will automatically start it. Not started, then we can proceed the record to in progress and then proceed it again to completed. So we can click the plus button to add or delete statuses as desired, and then below we can map the flow of those statuses. So we can say that the status goes from in progress to complete. We can add other branches as well. So I'm just going to add, let's say in review, let's say approved, and let's say rejected, and let's say complete. So I just created all the statuses I want, and then below I can map that. So we're going to go from not started to in review. Here I can edit the label on that button. So I'm going to say the button will say in review. And then from lower below, we can see we have in review, and we can decide where it can go from there. So we can say that it was either approved or it was rejected. So we can click the plus button and say rejected. We can name the buttons. Reject, approve, and reject. And then we can click the plus button here to keep building the rest of the flow. So from approved, we can say complete. And that will be the end of the flow. We can also say from rejected, we can send it back to in review. And then it can be sent earlier into the flow and then start over again from there. So that's pretty much all we need. I'm just going to click save and update the app. And if we go to Franny's profile, we can see how Kintone user can go in, review the details or the progress of Franny's record, you can scroll up and see the newly generated process management buttons. So we can click in review to send the record to in review. And then you can either reject or approve. Let's just say we rejected them. Then we can keep pushing the status back to in review, and let's say back to approved and completed. So this would be very useful if this particular record needs to pass through the hands of many different users in order to complete this flow. So say that the accounting department must take action at a certain status, then the billing department needs to take action on another status. This feature allows us to assign those departments and notify them automatically as we click the buttons and proceed the flow. So yeah, I see Elias commented at me here. So I didn't need to receive a notification because I was already here. But if I didn't see it, I could go to my notifications up here and I would receive that message. I could also receive this message on the home screen of my iPhone or Android phone, for example, if I had the Kintone native app. And so I believe that covers process management, unless I missed anything.
Yeah, maybe could you show in Franny's profile like the status history as well?
Yeah, sure. So just make this a little bigger. I can click this history icon and I can see the actual history, when and who changed the status from what to what. And I can scroll through the entire history and see all the changes to Franny's record. Nice. So yeah, it looks like we went over lookups, related records, action buttons, reminders, permissions, views, and process management. So that's the core of Kintone features. There are so many more things that we can add and edit in terms of plugins and other customizations that we can add, more apps and more connections we can make. But yeah, this is a very basic starting point. So we just went over those general features. I think from here we can talk about some plugins or talk about some other features. What do you think, Elias?
Yeah, I think maybe we can doctor some of the customers app up with some plugins. Maybe if we wanted to color code based on region, or conditionally show some things as well. That might be nice. Also showing tabs might be pretty nice. There are a lot of options in terms of customizing the app itself so that it kind of works for the business and works for your needs.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, I'll start with the conditional display and conditional format plugins. First, I'll just add a couple more fields that could make it, just more filled out. So let's say we have a drop down with
Active, inactive is good.
Yeah, exactly. We could say like high priority, for example. Priority, low, medium, high. I think that's pretty good. And then in terms of maybe some fields that we would want to hide or show, I guess we could have I guess this is good for now. So I'm just gonna update the app. So now
Maybe
we
if
have
we go inactive, we don't need to show we're not interested in seeing the priority, things like that.
Right. That sounds good. All right, so I'll go to the app settings and I'll start setting up our first plugin. So we'll just navigate to the plugin section. We can click add plugin to see the existing plugins in here. So these plugins need to be imported into the portal first by going to Kintone administration, and by scrolling down and clicking plugins, you can install the plugin system-wide. After completing that, then you can navigate to the individual apps and install them one by one. So these are already installed. I'm just going to look for that conditional format. It looks like we only have conditional display so far, so I'll just start with that plugin. So conditional display is very useful for hiding or disabling certain fields based on a condition in the record. So first we can select a condition. For example, let's say the activity, like Elias mentioned. We want to say, okay, if the active dropdown includes inactive, then on the right, we can say we want to, for example, hide the priority. Let's say we want to hide the priority, and we can add other features as well, such as like disabling, like making fields non-editable, or yeah, exactly. So for now, we'll just stick with hiding the priority.
Then I got some other plugins installed into the system as well,
Yeah.
multi and conditional format.
Yeah, I think this plugin is very useful for keeping the app clean and not looking too cluttered by seeing fields that are unnecessary. So if I just go to the active dropdown and put inactive, you can see the priority disappears. So yeah, we can, for example, if we had fields that are only specific to active customers, we can have them shown when the customer is indicated as active. So we'll just say that this customer is a high priority. So from here, I think I would like to use the conditional format plugin to change the color of the priority based on, whether it's high. So it looks like I don't have that plugin. So I'm just gonna. Oh, you added it already. Awesome. Thanks, Elias.
No problem.
I'll just go to the app settings, go to plugins, and click add plugin. And you can see the plugin that Elias just added, the conditional format. So this plugin is really useful for changing the color. So we can select the fields with the condition. So the priority is equal to,
Might be a little zoomed in too much.
The drop down includes. So priority includes high. For example, we can format the priority field to be, let's say the background color will be red. And that's it. You can click save, update the app. And when you go into Franny's profile, and looks like I changed the background color.
It reset on you here. Give me a sec and I will fix it up for you. Save and
Yeah, looks like Elias added another activity log. So you can see it was created by him and the details of those notes.
if you want to go ahead and refresh now.
Yeah, so we can see that the field just turned red based on the high priority. If we changed the priority to medium, that color would just go back to default color, but I'll keep it on high. And you can also see that in the list view as well if the priority was on the view settings. So should I add that or should we move on to another plugin?
Yeah, let's add it, and then I think we're starting to run up against a little bit of time, so we can start to kind of wrap things up. But I think that'll be a nice little last piece to add there.
Sounds good. So I'll just go to default view. I'll click edit and I'm going to drag in the priority so that we can see that color that we just added. Save, update app, and then, yep. So, yeah, it looks like that color shows here on the detail. Yeah.
Fabulous. Great. Yeah, thank you so much, Erica. So it's there, as you guys can probably tell, there's so much that the system encompasses and can do. We didn't even start to get into our open API today or things like that as well. But just as a basic system, I'm sure you all can see that you can come into Kintone without any knowledge of development, any knowledge of your platform, but knowledge of your own processes and build something that works for you and your team and that's functional. We can make reminders. We can do things like task lists. Here we're showing tracking some customers and basic information. Process management can get really involved and detailed and have multi levels of approvals and things like that. So today we built a framework. Hopefully it's sparked some ideas and it's sparked some thoughts about how Kintone can be used as a platform. Genji, do you maybe want to talk about some next steps?
Yeah, well, thank you very much. Couple next steps. Yes. Your opinion is very valuable for us. So we are asking for to fill out this quick 5-question Google form. I'm gonna post it right here in the chat. If you go ahead and fill out those 5 questions and you enter a $25 gift card Amazon raffle. Yeah, that's it for me.
Great. And yeah, our the forum link was on the PowerPoint. Maybe Genji, if you could grab it again. Oh, I got it here. So here's our developer forum. So this has kind of been a webinar for developers. You can interact with us through there, ask questions. Generally, Genji and Sean will be the ones responding to those. And build. So signing up for that developer profile does get you access to the platform for free to develop for about a year. And if you have any questions or exciting ideas, you're welcome to share them there with us, and we can communicate together.
Yeah, a little bit adding onto that. The developer license that we provide is free. We do check if it's actively being used annually. But hey, if you are using it and you're using it to test out concepts, build out proof of concepts for your clients or your integration needs, it is free for you. And we also provide, as on the forum any questions you have about whether it be Kintone APIs or Zapier integrations or other no code tools in relation to Kintone.
Great. So I think we're good to close out now.
Yeah. I know I've been asking Jenna over here on the chat, but if you have Jenna, if you have any questions, we're here to answer. If not, thank you very much for your time, and please fill out the forum. We would like to get to know the NCF community.
Great.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Les. Thanks, Erica. That was great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Will this be shared online, Genji? Can we
This
link
is
this
live on
to
YouTube,
next week?
so want to just do a quick close for the YouTube. Thank you guys for your time, and hope you enjoyed the workshop, and maybe you might check out another of our YouTube videos.
All right. Yep. We're going to start closing up the room real quick.